Hi, I'm Brandon. I love The Way Home.
Hi, I'm Ryan, and I like The Way Home.
I'm Dan, and for this particular episode, I despise The Way Home, and this is the Deck the Hallmark podcast.
Deck the Hallmark, it's his podcast. Brandon and friends host his podcast. We hope you like this jolly podcast.
Hello, everybody. Happy Friday.
Baby,
Hello.
what a time to be alive.
Very, very
Now,
excited for today.
I have a couple of questions.
Yes, go ahead.
First of all, No Way Home this week.
No Way Home.
And I don't know how we're having this episode, but
Super Bowl Sunday.
before we get to
Shut
that,
it down.
I'm a bit concerned about our boy Rye Guy, who has been trapped in a room with a video game console and one Power Ranger.
And Barnes and Noble.
If you are in trouble, just like blink a few times rapidly.
Guys, everything's fine. Listen, a little inside baseball for the audience here, especially those on Philo. But this is not our usual recording day or time, which is fine. It's a little early. I might not be my sharpest. Eventually, there's going to be a nice little setup here at Alyssa and I's new place. We're not there yet. So for today, it's crisscross applesauce. My computer and mic may be on 2 storage bins. Everything's great.
Everything's great. He's
What's that on the other
applesauce.
side of you? What is that red? Is it
Is that a
bat?
Swiffer?
What is that?
What is that over there?
Oh, my mom got me this. It's a Cleveland Browns. I think it's for like cooking. It's like a dish holder thing.
So
you know?
that
Yeah.
needed to stay right there.
Well, see, here's the thing, guys. I was hoping that on the 1% chance you guys wouldn't realize I was on the floor, that I'd cover up like the cracks under the door.
Oh, listen.
But,
Hey, Ryan, I got news for you. I see an entire baseboard, buddy. Unless you're in Gulliver's Travels or like Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings, you are sitting on the floor.
Yeah, which I was fine with. Like, now Alyssa gave me big side eye before this. She was like, "Oh, you want to get the room ready?" I was like, "No, I'm just gonna sit on the floor." And she was like, "I gotta get to work." Like,
If you're watching philo.tv/DTH, you're in for a treat.
She's as disappointed as we all are.
Yeah, I think so.
She's all of us.
I think it looks good. Honestly, this might just be the
But
permanent
also
spot,
give them your address so they can send you a check if you need the or money order. I think either Venmo. Bodie is Ryan.
Well, I won't give out my address, but if you want to send me some money so I can bet more on NBA All-Star Saturday night, feel free.
That's exactly right. Are you betting on the celebrity game tonight? Are you going to put any, see what Bieber does?
If so, this just became an intervention.
Kevin Hart plus 200 for MVP. I'll think about it. Yeah, right.
Over under.
That's
Bieber
not a bad
5
bet, actually.
points.
That's
Over
not a
under.
bad
Over
bet.
under Bieber 5 points. Is that?
Oh, over.
Ooh.
Over. It's
I'd
literally,
go
it's
over.
literally all Bieber's doing right now is playing. I don't actually know if he's in the celebrity game, but literally all he's doing right now is basketball.
If he is, it's all about volume, and they're going to give Bieber 20 shots.
Usher tried to get him to show up to the halftime show, and he was like, I got a game at the Y at that time, and there's nothing I could do. I can't let those guys down. I know you've made my career. I know, Usher, you made my career, but I've got a game.
I got a game.
Which with Jeff and Bozo, and we've got court.
We got
court.
Bieber couldn't risk injury on roller skates before the NBA celebrity game.
Absolutely. Can someone please confirm that he's doing this, because it's all that I need.
He's got
Ryan, what did you and Alyssa do anything for Valentine's Day? Are you a big Valentine's boy?
We had a lovely time. Cards exchanged, flowers. We watched. I want to make it very clear because Alyssa wouldn't like this if I misrepresent. Alyssa, not the world's biggest Taylor Swift fan, but she does like the movie Valentine's Day, which stars Taylor Swift.
A legendary
So we watched
movie.
that.
It is.
I saw it for the first time. I say we review it here on the pod.
You know what I watched on Valentine's
how'd it go
night
for
was
you,
was
Ryan?
10 Things I Hate About You, which I had never seen before, and I enjoyed that.
You hate Shakespeare. How'd it go for you?
I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that.
That is Shakespeare.
Yeah, I enjoyed it because of Joseph Gordon-Levitt, mainly.
Heath Ledger.
My guy.
JGL. Come on.
Isn't Alex Mack in that? Isn't the Secret World of Alex Mack in that, Brand?
I don't know who that is.
I don't know.
Larissa
I know that.
I think she is.
I know that Bernard from the Santa Claus is in it.
Bob
Yeah, Bob Moran is in it. Yeah, I like that. Valentine's Day. I don't think I've seen it. I don't think I've seen that movie.
So it's no New Year's Eve, which I think was made by
I just can't believe we're doing this right
No, and
now.
I think that's more than fair.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I
go
mean, New
ahead,
Year's Eve had
Aaron.
that fun.
Aaron's got
Your
some
mic's
thoughts
just
on
muted.
Valentine's Day, the movie.
No, I just want to be unmuted because I love both those movies.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
New Year's Eve is a good.
Valentine's Day
Val-
is, I believe, the movie where they bring in some massive stars like Julia Roberts and Jamie Foxx, and they make you sit through an over 2-hour multi-storyline.
And it's worth every minute.
Oh, it is.
Long time.
I don't remember it super well, but I remember it enough.
It was fine. I mean, it was fine. It was fine.
Which
Like,
of the
you know, they all,
which of the 7 storylines was the strongest?
I liked Julia Roberts and Bradley Cooper on the aeroplane. I thought that was fun.
Yeah.
Thanks for saying it like that. I like
You're
that. Was
welcome.
nice.
Aeroplane.
That was nice.
Yeah, that's how they said it back in the
Well,
day.
I think we all had a wonderful Valentine's, but it all leads to this:
It
a
does.
very
The big
important
show.
Friday edition of Deck the Homework, where we talk about some way home theories. There's
The
a
way
lot
home
of
theories.
There's a lot of theories. We have our own theories.
We got some theories, for
obviously, and everybody knows ours at this point because we talk about them every week. But what I wanted to do this week is I threw out to the double deckers, give us your best or most outlandish way home theory, and we'll take them in.
Yep.
We'll discuss them, try to decide if it's a valid theory or not, and go from there. So that's part of the fun of the way home, is the fact that there are so many possibilities when it comes to time travel and the things that are surrounding the pond and the family and all that stuff.
Part of the fun of this episode is that, full disclosure, Ryan, Bran, and myself, none of us have heard these theories yet.
haven't-
We
wait,
didn't read
nope,
the
yes.
thread. We didn't look at what was said. Producer Erin has those in a vault, and she's going to read them to us, and then
She
we're going to
printed
discuss.
them out on printer paper, put them in the
In a
vault,
vault.
closed
In the
it,
vault.
and
That's right.
has now opened it back up, which was
Yes.
really, we should have put that on video because that was actually really an amazing ceremony.
Would have been a good vlog. One caveat: I did write a theory into the thread, but I did not look at any of the other.
And
theories.
also,
Just wanna
full
put that on
disclosure,
record.
Ryan didn't know that's why we were doing this on the Facebook group.
Yeah, I don't
He
get
had
that.
no idea that was to serve a greater purpose.
Yeah,
and
a lot of
so,
this episode was locked in the vault.
There's a lot of
but to
locked
be
in the
fair,
vault.
Ryan's been locked in a vault of his own, and he,
exactly right. He's
that
in his
was
own-
he took his
in
5
his own
minutes
vault.
of internet time he's allotted every day to post a way home theory, and so that is on him
Hey,
at
Ryan,
the end of the day.
Ryan, for the people watching on Philo, go ahead and stand up. Let's check out these shorts. What shorts are we rocking today?
These are-
Whoa! I didn't see that
Yeah.
color coming.
Yeah, I don't know if we can air this.
Oh
now.
my
I'm
gosh.
pretty sure that's a
Boy.
literal drip there.
That's a literal drip coming out of your crotchal region on your shorts.
Oh, well, that's a mischaracterization.
Man.
That's a mischaracterization.
Well, is
You know,
it?
we always
It's-
we always talk about how good the show would be if I was there all the time,
Yeah.
but really, I think we'd lose a lot in
it's
translation
slime
if I
time.
wasn't
Yeah,
on
there's
video.
nothing we can do about it.
Are
Yeah.
those Nickelodeon shorts?
No, it's Scott Hall. You know, Brand, you're familiar with
course
Scott
I
Yeah,
Hall.
it's a Razor's Edge, Razor
Yeah,
Ramon.
yeah. These are Scott Hall shorts.
Yeah.
These are Scott Hall
Hey
shorts.
yo,
Duh.
hey yo,
Hey, yo.
Yeah, look at
flicking
Dan.
the
Big-
toothpick at you. Absolutely, Wolfpack.
Dan knows.
Yeah,
Dan knows.
that's right. And then Kevin Nash. They were the outsiders for a while. Come
Oh,
on.
look at. Wow. Oh,
This is
man.
my 2 years. This is my 2 years of wrestling knowledge. You hit in that window.
All right. Aaron, take it away with our first theory.
Since Ryan called himself out, we'll start with his theory,
Okay.
which is that he believes Stephen Curtis Chapman's Dive will be the opening credits theme song in season 3.
Oh man,
Discuss.
boy.
I mean, I think it's a no-brainer.
I
I
think
do think it's a no-brainer. I'm frustrated they didn't even, as far as I know, consider it. It does have a jovial.
a couple of hurdles, if I may. One, they don't have a theme song right now. It is just a little thing, and it's just like the water's moving. It says,
But
the
it
way
is
home.
like the same little sound.
little like it's like lost. There's a sound,
Yeah.
but they don't do like a song where it's like, here we are, there's a pond, Andy's here, so is Kyler. Like they don't do that. They just say the way home and then they move on. You don't see pictures of all the cast.
That's really interesting. So in the song that you made up, they're
real names.
singing their real names, which
it's-
does,
I'm
you put it
You
on.
don't
Yeah,
say it,
no.
Andy McDowell. I see
I
what you're
get it.
saying.
No.
Yeah. I was trying to do both at once.
It should, I don't hate that.
Why
idea.
don't they though?
Yeah.
Yeah, they should.
And
I guess I guess opening credits themes have kind of phased out just in general.
What if it was just the beginning, that don't no, like that beginning of Dive?
Yeah.
That has a little liquidy like guitar riff in it, like.
Or you just play the opening card and it's just I'm diving in.
Yeah, I think that.
Yeah. 2
And
seconds.
listen, I know everybody is waiting for me to press the button. I broke the soundboard
The
that it was
soundboard
loaded
that has
on.
that button on it,
And
which
so-
would be perfect.
I know.
For such a time as this.
So I have to make the transfer over, and I apologize because I don't
We
have
don't have
that.
it.
I don't have it.
We don't
right now.
have the audio.
Bummer.
Yeah, I have this.
I'm lonely,
Oh,
lonely,
that's from a deck that don't.
lonely,
Oh, stop it. The way she said,
lonely.
she's clearly singing, right? Ryan, she's
I'm lonely.
the whole
It's the only option,
the
right?
whole bit of that was that's a line of dialogue that's given not as a song in that movie. And
One more time. Fran, one more time.
Here it is from the top.
I'm lonely.
I'm glad I have that.
that line of dialogue is delivered as if there is like as she's not supposed to be singing.
Lonely.
It was a bit.
No, it was a real movie that we turned into a bit.
Lonely.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. So
That's funny.
at the very least, we have that. Aaron, next one.
Okay. This one comes from Colleen, who wants us to know that she has never watched an episode of this show,
Okay.
but she wonders if it is aliens.
Oh.
Just it's aliens?
The
Now,
theory was aliens.
I will say this.
I mean-
there is a time traveling pond that
Right.
we have to either enter into canon as normal or we have to have an origin story.
Some sort of thing that happened. Now, to that point, if you go back to, I believe, episode 1, where Del was fondling the dirt and going, this
Stop
is
it.
good dirt. This is good
This
dirt.
is good stuff.
It could be aliens came, left some residue
Sprinkled
in
the
the
dirt.
dirt
That's
or
right.
something.
Yeah.
That dirt then made its way somehow into the pond, which made it possible for time travel. I'm not saying that's what happened, but I do think it's
I
not
mean,
outside the realm
I
of
think the
possibility.
chances are better than Stephen Curtis Chapman Dive being
Yeah.
the theme song.
Yeah.
So far, this is number 1 on the list. Yeah, I mean, where I land on this, and I'm not even trying to be funny, is like, I don't know, that's as plausible as anything else as to why this time traveling pond exists.
But
you
I
know?
do think that at the end of the day, we're not going to get a pond origin story. I think we're
don't think
going to
so.
be asked to believe that the pond served a purpose.
Yes.
And
I do think there's a possibility that perhaps not this season, but in seasons 3 or 4, maybe there is some other time traveling device outside of the pond that we find out about.
another
on the farm.
token.
But
Another totem.
yes, but
Yes.
I don't think we'll ever find out how or why.
No,
I
no,
think
no,
it
I-
just
You never
is.
find out. You
And
never
I-
find out why the island in Lost has all
Correct.
of these magical
and
properties.
I do think, you know, we after last week's episode, we got a lot of messages and we got 2 big comment threads on, you know, and then we got messages from people who aren't in the double deckers that were like, hey, why is bringing Jacob back to the future breaking the rules? And in all honesty, I do think that's on me. I think all of this is an opinion, right? Like all of this is an opinion on what we think the show should do. I think instead of saying that, because then the pond does need an origin story if we're talking about the rules of time travel. But the better way to say it is that I've always thought The Way Home is a show about learning how to deal with the mistakes you've made in the past and not being able to change them. I think thematically, that's what the first season is if we dwell in the past and keep trying to fix the mistakes, then we don't ever get a future. You know, we have a bad relationship with our daughter or our mother or both or whatever. And so learning to leave it and learning to find your way back home to the present is what I've always thought it was, is if we're bringing Jacob back, that ruins that. That ruins that for me, because part of your life is the loss of that and dealing with that and moving forward and finding some beauty in the ashes. And so,
But the only problem there is that the only thing that happened is he went back in time. It's not
Correct.
like someone died. It's not like he died.
But he's on a journey.
Back. Sure.
He's now had to deal with his loss. He's not trying to find a way back home to the present. He's had to deal with his loss of what it meant to have a mom and dad and all that stuff. And now he's got to live in a different place and time. And that is now his timeline. That is now his home. And
I do think the biggest question for me in regards to that is when Jacob went back when he jumped in on that fateful night of the carnival. And he heads back to 1814.
Took a little trip.
Does he ever try to jump back in? Does he ever put that together and go, because obviously Alice does.
But he doesn't
Alice
have
is able to figure that out.
He's now 24. He
Sure,
has the
so
1700s.
back, whatever that is.
17.
But did he ever on that, did he go, hey, I'm trying to get back? Or did
Correct.
the pawn not take him? That, those are things that we don't know yet, which I think will help answer, is it possible for him to get back?
In the weird way of answering this dumb pawn thing about the aliens, what I'm saying is that the way, it's my fault. The way I'm saying breaks the rules makes it sound like there are rules written in concrete. There aren't. For me, if we have rules written in concrete, then the pawn does have to come from aliens or somewhere. What my take of this is as subjective as anyone else's. And in my take, it would make no sense for them to, I don't think they can bring Jacob to the present.
But him coming back and going back when he jumps in 1814, heading back into that year, the way that I understand time working within it is that the time that you're in
Keeps moving.
The time that you're in it here,
But it
it
justifies
is the same amount of time there.
My thing is it justifies everything Kat's done. And Kat is
Sure.
clearly acting with reckless abandon right now. She's like, you just watch it. I'm going to fix this. Yeah, I killed my dad, but I'm not going to blah, blah, blah. She is clearly not living in the moment and moving forward and celebrating what she has. And she's in a bad place right now. And it justifies, if she successfully does this, then basically she was right. She should keep going back in time to try to do all kinds of stuff. Find every missing person that may have gotten into the pond. She should do that. And that's not what, in my opinion, it's not fact. Right. In my opinion, that is breaking the rule of this show, what this show is about at the end of the day. All of these characters are trying to use the past for something they shouldn't, instead of realizing that all they can do is move forward.
Right. But coming back home
would not break
an actual time travel
would not break
rule.
a pond rule.
Correct.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
The one thing I want to say, Bran, off your point is that, and I think this is probably more likely for season 3, because we obviously have no way to know how the Jacob stuff plays out for the rest of season 2. But I think you both would agree, we will need a Jacob focused episode once we finally get, we need the Jacob 1794 through 1814 episode, because otherwise I think far too many questions open up about his story.
Why did he seemed to have a loving relationship with his family. You're telling me he jumps in the pond, he meets these people, and he's like, this sounds like a good home for me now.
You do have that scene where it's back in the 1790s.
The old woman's not yet.
Yeah, this is how you get home, but not yet. So I would like an episode, because clearly something's going on.
And that not yet. What is?
Yeah.
How does she know? Clearly, that implies that at some point,
and we don't see that person's face, or aliens.
Yes,
yeah, of course,
or aliens. Might just be aliens.
I also think that it just is it's a different vibe. It's just a different vibe. And it's probably because we're spinning too many plates, but it is a different vibe of what seems to be a through line of season 1. What we're kind of doing here, and I don't think we're going to get answers about the pond or about this time that he spent there.
At least this season. I don't think
there's
a space.
What if he's been held captive and then gaslit to why he's there, and he's 9 and he
right.
They could come up with all sorts of things for sure.
Right. The other thing is, I think what they're telling us, the characters are telling us, the audience, is relatively generally true about where he is right now and all that. But we don't know for sure. We haven't seen him. We haven't talked to him.
Because once again, Kat actually hasn't found him, despite what she would like to claim. Aaron, let's do one more and then we'll take a quick break.
Well, before you do that, my crackpot theory is now Jacob is now the same Jacob from Lost.
There you go.
He's like, you can't ever see him, but he's rocking that chair. As soon as he travels back, now he goes to this island, and then he comes back to the 1800s and 1900s and founds Hope Valley.
Lost Island was in Canada.
Yeah, we can confirm.
I love that. Aaron?
So we're going to go out of order now because you guys just won't drop the Lost thing. Here's a theory from Cece.
All right, that sounded personal.
In the future, Jacob gets on Oceanic Flight 815
Oh
from
my
Sydney,
gosh.
Australia to Los Angeles, California, and changes his name to Jack upon crash landing on a deserted island so as not to be confused with the protector of the island, Jacob.
Cece and I are sharing a brain, like literally sharing a brain. Because I almost did that bit instead, and I was like, no, Jacob to Jacob. But what she said is better. Like just better. And I love it. And I want it to be true so badly.
Yeah.
I definitely want
I think she nailed it. I think we got it.
I think she nailed
Yeah.
it. Give me one more.
Okay, this one comes from John Volmer. What if the horse is Colton? And there are some theories on whether that is shape-shifting or reincarnation, but...
The horse is Colton?
It's an interesting one just because of the way in which the horse is just kind of like there and she's talking to the horse. And
I think the horse is all the lobsters that were eaten at the lobster show.
An amalgamation.
That's right. Hey, why'd you eat us? We're just trying to have a night out talking. It's fun.
Did you say horse? Yeah.
Did somebody say horse? Man.
she does have like a weird relationship with the horse, but
it is
introduce some sort of reincarnation, shape-shifting storyline into the time travel show would be a very bold move.
What if Colton jumped into the pond as a human and came out as a horse, and he was like, "What the F, man?"
So but
like this.
To that point, if that is an option, like what if? Okay, so we have seen obviously the females of the family jump in the pond and time travel and come back in female form. What if whenever a male jumps in the pond and comes back, they come back as an animal? The dog. What if the dog is actually Jacob? What if the horse is Colton? I'm just throwing things out here, guys.
That females can travel through the time with the pond and they just are the same. Then men show up as animals.
Yeah.
Animorphs.
So you're saying Jacob followed himself into the pond?
That's right.
I think it's possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
Guys,
But back in 1814, is Susanna engaged to a dog?
Different Jacob. It's a mistaken identity situation.
Well, there's a couple Jacobs in 1814.
That's true. She hasn't actually found Jacob yet. She's only heard of Jacob.
Oh, Brian Harold in the chat. Colt is a baby horse. Colton is a grown-up.
In the name. It's in the name.
That's actually not bad. Man. That's not bad.
Harold coming in hot.
Hey, one more thing. 1814 Oceanic Flight 815.
Oh my gosh. What are we even doing?
1 plus 814 is 815.
It's real. It's real.
This is pretty obvious.
I can't believe we cracked the code. Not even before the first break.
I know. Wow. Well, let's take that first break. We'll come back and we'll get some more theories here on Deck the Hallmark. We're back. We're talking way home theories, everybody. So far, a lot of real good ones. Let's find out. Let's find out if we got any more good ones. Aaron?
Yep. This one comes from Megan Volmer.
Okay.
She thinks that Dell is the White Witch. They make it seem like it's Kat, but the White Witch steals a little boy, and Kat is trying to steal a full-grown man. I think Dell is the one who tried to steal 1890 Jacob and thus became the White Witch. Maybe she tried to steal him right before the show started, and that's why she decided to declare him dead / reach out to Kat because she knew Jacob was never coming home.
So she follows Jacob in time, back to that time to get him, and then doesn't. Does that
mean you mean would that be 1790?
Dell is
1790.
So
1790.
So Dell just can't die. She's a witch and is still living today.
I like the core of this because this goes back to what we've been talking about since last season, which is that either Del knows everything
Yes.
and the show is kind of compromised from a story perspective, or it knows nothing and it's almost insulting our intelligence. This is maybe the one scenario where like it works.
Let's say 1790, she gets him. She does jump in the pond with him. We've already seen that the pond is powerful enough to split two people,
Correct.
even if they're holding. So she could be holding Jacob. It splits apart. She does come back, and she's just like, this is a lost cause. I don't know, maybe cat. Like, I don't know. That's interesting.
It is. And I do think that this season of the show, last season of the show, seemed very like airtight, and like they knew what they're going to do. Time travel is a mechanism to let people experience something from a different perspective, but at the end of the day, not be able to change it. This year has this weird feeling that it just feels like people in present day are older versions of people that we meet in other time periods. And we're going to find out that it is a circle that can't be broken. Like, the only reason they're old now is because something they did then. And the only reason they did it is because they went back from when they were young in the future to do it. And if they didn't do it, they wouldn't be old now. And there's nothing we can do in this weird circle. And I think if that's true, Andie MacDowell is in the center of that circle. She 100% could be living in all of these different time periods, and being the White Witch makes sense. If that's the case, the showrunners basically lied at that point. But I love it. I love throwing you off the scent by saying, no, Kat's the person in that photo at the end is Kat. And then we think that means she's the White Witch because she's being chased, but really the White Witch wasn't her, and she's getting away for some other reason. Maybe she stole some bread. I don't know.
I'll say this, and Dan, to your point, and could go back to what I said a minute ago. I'd rather it be something creative and unexpected like this, as opposed to just either she never knew and we're like, or she always knew and we're like, like, so at least this like kind of splits the middle in a way that could be narratively interesting.
I love Del being a villain who's known the whole time, and the reason she's acting like she doesn't know is she started this to originally fix the past, and she now look, and I'm going to get real serious for a second. People who have these things they do when they're young that are so impactful in their life, and they hold their trauma, instead of ever unpacking it, they just pack lie on lie on lie on top of it. And that thing the most important thing is like Gollum in the Ring, becomes protecting this thing very nicely
Thank
done,
you.
that you're ashamed of from when you were younger, and everything, all of your energy is put behind protecting the trauma lie that started this. It is super dark, but I love the idea that Del did something to fix the past. It set us in motion on this, and all of this has been her going, I can't let anybody figure this out because I'm embarrassed, and it actually means Kat's going to go back and is going to kill my husband, and all of this is going to happen because I tried to save my boy and it didn't work, and I've set us on this course, and instead of coming clean, I'm continuing to play dumb and lie and let other people add to their trauma instead of trying to heal the generational trauma that I've caused. That is deep, that's dark, it's real, it's human, and it's amazing, and they should do it. I don't think they're gonna. But I would love it if they did.
Yeah, that's good. What else, Aaron?
Y'all don't know where to go from there.
No,
I got nothing to add.
No, you did great.
Play the I'm lonely bit again.
I'm lonely. There are several comments about, is it just Landry's? I'm going to try on the spot here to combine these all into one cohesive comment.
This is fun.
Is it just Landry's who can travel through the pond? So meaning like Colton and therefore Kat and therefore Alice.
But not Del.
If you, let me just keep theorizing here. Is it someone who marries into a Landry, so therefore Del can travel? And is it beyond the Landrys? Is it all founding families of this town, so therefore like Elliot's ancestry? And the only reason we think that Elliot can't travel is because Elliot told us.
And he also, didn't he try to jump in at some point?
He says
maybe young Elliot.
Elliot says he tried. But we've learned that Elliot is not the most reliable narrator of this time travel story.
Total nefarious.
And there is also a theory that potentially Del is related to the Goodwin family, that woman who just died and left the mansion. That maybe Del is a part of a founding family in her own line.
Yeah.
But so I guess just more than Kat and Alice can time travel. Is it open to more families?
I think we're mixing a lot of different possibilities. But are we to say then? I thought Elliot at some point jumped in and tried to jump after Kat or Alice or one of them, and then just didn't go anywhere, and they did.
Pushed it back.
But no, actually jumped in the water. I thought that maybe I just made that up in my head.
Yeah, but we've seen Kat and Alice at separate times
Correct.
try to time travel and get rejected.
We
only saw one attempt by Elliot.
But if we're just going on Elliot's word, then we don't actually know. No one else has attempted to time travel then in this entire show. That no one has unsuccessfully time traveled in this show that hasn't previously successfully done it. So we've not seen someone who knows about this go and never be able to do it, even though they're trying. That has not happened yet in our 14 episodes.
As best we can recall.
Right?
As best we can recall.
Right.
Yeah. I thought the Elliot thing happened too, Dan, but I don't have it in front of me.
What Aaron's saying is
sure.
even if it did, it happened once. And, Kat and Alice aren't always able to travel when they want to.
Yeah, so we
Not
saw
100%
Elliot
success.
try and get rejected, but he doesn't always tell us the truth.
They've successfully left that very ambiguous because now it's like, can Del time travel? Can she not? The dog can. Does the dog time travel all the time? Just that once? Is it the same dog? Can anybody from the town thing gets really complicated because then
I'm sorry, do we know that the dog can actually time travel for sure? Can just
that was the season one. I don't
does
remember.
Does he just jump in and Jacob
the
jumps in after?
Finale.
Well, the reason we think that is because Andy McDowell Dell says the dog will leave for long stretches and come back.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
If it's their and it is their pet.
Yeah, you're right.
And so I can't there's no way else for that to work, in my opinion. I mean, he could just be going to his,
Well, unless the dog's an alien.
Yeah, or he's got a family on the side. He's getting belly rubs and snugs on the side somewhere.
Oh my gosh.
He might just be sitting crisscross applesauce with his other family.
Power Ranger in the background.
No sane person does that.
PlayStation, Nintendo Switch, whatever that is back there.
A place. What is that?
It's a PlayStation portal.
It's a portal.
You can play your PlayStation on the old
And that's
handheld.
promo code DECK at checkout, Ryan.
So it's a PSP.
Yeah.
No, it's we don't have guys. We got to talk about aliens.
Sorry.
We don't have time.
It is. Yeah. I tend to.
The blood relative thing has to be out if the dog can time travel, and so does the land
Yeah,
thing.
the
Well,
dog
dog's
is
family.
Yes, I know that, but this whole idea of the Landry line or ownership of land doesn't include dogs, right? So if dog can time travel, then you have to throw blood relation and land ownership out, right?
I guess so. I mean,
I think so. Yeah.
And then Langley is saying
also
the dog
think-
does show up in both time periods.
Okay.
So then he can time travel.
Okay.
yeah.
And also, to bring it back to the most simple and basic theory, the premise of the show, as far as we're concerned, it's very possible that Elliot's lying about everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say if the dog time travels, that means that the
Jordan's saying we see the dog in 23-24, and then he's who Jacob follows in 1999. So proof the dog is time and looks the same in both of those, which
That's
he wouldn't.
true. That's true.
Proof that the dog does time travel.
That's
there.
true.
What were you going to say, Aaron?
So I have to back up my thoughts a second here. So is it just back up? So we're throwing out the fact that it's like blood Landrys or founding families. Is it just open to any creature that the pond decides?
Or does this family have to own it? At that point, I'm kind of out.
Because if the dog is time traveling, it's
It's
not
any-
land
it's-
ownership.
it's anybody.
any one or thing that the pond thinks
The
needs
dog
to
is
travel
a
for the
great-
sake of.
a great device in season 1. Amazing that he's there the whole time. And then we did call it on the first episode. I don't want to be that person, but we did. But most people, that was a big shocker for them. And it's great. But now that we're further into this mythology, the dog presents some problems. He doesn't help them as much as it hurts them writing the show where they're writing.
Well, it just proves that the pond is ultimately they've continued to say it takes you where you need to go, and that means it also takes whomever
right.
it needs.
So
to
it
go
isn't
to.
blood or land.
So it
isn't-
is helping
yes.
move. If the theory of it just being a big
Cyclical.
giant circle, then it'll do or take or move whoever and whatever for the sake of the circle.
Yeah.
I think best case scenario is that they don't spend a lot of time on this. I think let's just focus on the Landry of it all, our self-contained story, the dog traveled, that's great. But to your guys' point, I don't think we need a ton of mythology on how the pond works overall, because I think it gets very muddy very quickly.
Literally. Aaron?
There is some discussion on the fountain that was at the Goodwin Manor.
Yeah.
And if that is connected to the pond at all.
Is it the water? Yeah, I
A
think
lot of people thought it was sus.
I don't. Yeah, sus. It's nicely done. I don't know if this is a theory as much as it is. I just want to know. Like, we're starting to bring in some of this like mythology talk. Like, is it the dirt? Is it the water? Is it the place? And I think the one thing this show has done really well is it's not. It stayed very non-committal to this, to where we have to have an episode like this.
Right.
So they've not ever, they're giving
They
you enough.
start this season with Del just being like, the dirt.
That's right.
And then
Yes.
do nothing with it.
Yes.
Clearly that's something.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
clearly something, some sort of thing. You know what's interesting? You and I saw the pool movie.
So Night Swim.
Night
Web.
Swim. We have not seen that. We saw Night Swim. In Night Swim, there is this pond element.
That's right.
They make a pool out of it.
Yes.
This one woman brings a
is-
fountain into her house with that
The
water.
mythology of this water is phenomenal, and the way home in that area of Night Swim could take some notes.
That's
It's a fun time. Maybe they are. Maybe we don't know it. They are.
some say I don't know. It's, maybe they tapped into the pond and it's going into this fountain for some reason.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know. I don't know.
Tap water. Yeah, tap water.
Tap
Yeah.
water. Aaron?
Then we have a theory from Jordan. I'm going to read it as she has written because I've been trying to make sense of it in my brain, and it's a lot and my brain can't do it. So she says her theory is Colton and time travel.
Okay.
Her craziest theory is that Colton's original timeline is actually in the future, and he happened to jump back to somewhere around the 80s, meets Del, and decides to stay in the past with her.
Just like Jacob
Yeah.
is doing right now.
Yeah. So
this a
they
lot.
meet a slightly younger Colton who hasn't jumped yet, all this stuff. It gets a little tricky because then, like, how did Colton get the farm in the 90s if he's from the future?
I love the idea of this very, very much. And I think it has a lot of merit. The idea that these people we don't know, aside from Kat and Alice, we don't know exactly when anyone else's original timeline was.
Right.
Because we've only seen them discover the pond. Everyone else, that's what makes some of these characters like old Roy or Byron or whatever his name is, like, if it make him interesting is like, or this
Talk
person
about
that
sus.
shows up and they're helping Kat at the archives. Because, our head of archives. Whew. Like, are they, a lot of people think
Every single thing that they
Yes.
said was suspicious.
so cryptic.
yeah.
Sus.
Super sus.
And it's one of these things that it's, as long as it's satisfying and it makes sense, I'm here for it. Also, the idea that the men are going back in time and staying and the women can come back is great, because the men are like, dude, there's just more of a stranglehold on the patriarchy right now. Like, we've got it. We are in charge more here than we are where we came from. Let's stick around. I think that is a fun element that would never come up in this show,
Right.
but it's fun. The idea that the bros go back and they're like,
well,
well, we
partly
made
like,
America great again.
yeah,
Up
but
top. Like, you know what I mean?
I think the biggest reason why that one is like it's 9-year-old Jacob. Like,
Yes,
Jacob
that's
at
true.
9 isn't like,
That's
man,
true.
it's so hard being a boy right
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
So like I think that
Yeah.
probably won't come up for that reason. But it is interesting that they're sticking around, falling in love, and just being like.
That's right.
This is good
and
here.
then all the ladies are like, nah, we're going to get back. We're going to get back.
But
which
it is
fun.
interesting, obviously.
I love the idea, though. I love the idea a lot.
I think we'll get something like this by next
will say-
season. Like, even if it's not this season, I think it's next.
And before
season
you
for
get
sure.
going, if Colton is still alive anywhere, I'm going to be upset. I think
even if it's different, Colton.
I think death has to matter. Like, this is true about every TV show. Like, a show jumps the shark when they have a very dramatic death scene that has big ramifications for every character, and then they pull the rabbit out of the hat and they bring them back. I can think of literally none right now. I bet you could convince me there's a few exceptions to that rule, but typically that is one of my least favorite tropes in all of visual media. Like, if they were to bring back Iron Man or Captain America in the Avengers, I would be like, this is stupid. Like,
well, get ready.
No, it's going to happen. But like, if they brought a different one, whatever, the show's got to go on. But in this TV show, Colton's death is a huge part of everyone's character.
Right.
Now, what if Colton's a horse?
Yeah, that's a different story. I'm fine with that. I mean, some people would say yes to Colton being a horse, and I'm kind of saying nay.
Nah.
No, I feel like Colton, if we experience a world where Colton is alive and we make him alive and get to have a reunion, that's what we all want, but I think that's to the detriment of the characters.
Yeah.
So there you have it.
Let's take one more quick break. We'll come back. We'll do a few more, Aaron. We got a few more, and then we'll call it a day. I'm letting everybody know.
We should do this again at the end of the season.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Right here on Deck Dolmark. Ryan, have your captors brought you breakfast yet, or what time does that come?
I gotta tell you, real quick, the good time bit. It's crisscross applesauce for this long has actually proven pretty difficult.
Yeah. Crisscross blood flow problems.
That's right.
And then I started stretching my leg, but you guys have me all stressed about the shorts now, so I don't want to do that.
Crisscross, I need applesauce.
For everyone on Philo, just real quick. Okay, that's really
that's
very
go for it. Look
okay.
at you, man.
Okay, come on. All right, we're good to go. Aaron, a couple more.
Ryan Popola.
Yeah, I think we got to do this quick.
Today.
Ryan does have somewhat of a heart out, so yeah.
Okay.
It's when he gets to go outside for calisthenics.
That's exactly. You get 30 minutes, I believe.
He's like, guys, this is important, but it's not going to cut into my gym time.
That's exactly
I get
right.
30 minutes of physical activity a
And
day.
then they give me a bag of milk. It's awesome.
We have a lot of theories to get to.
Out in the yard.
Okay.
Sorry. Go
Rapid
ahead.
fires.
Here we go. Quick.
Another one from Megan is that the Goodwin teenager that we meet at the end of the episode is Alice's daughter from the future.
Yeah, I think that's a sure
They
thing.
say it would be an honor to work in print media before it's dead, with a weird tone as if it
Yes.
is completely dead where they are from.
100%. I
Yes.
think that this is a sure thing.
Yes. Yeah. The family generational line. We're expanding both directions. I love that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Brand, when you said it last week, I hadn't considered it yet, but to my point, I think we need something like this from the future for sure in season 3. I think it's a great season 2 finale moment to find that out, even though we figured it out 3 weeks ago.
It's this year's dog. I think is kind of how we're looking. We figured out the dog very early.
We did. We knocked it out.
Yeah,
we knocked it out of the park.
You lucky
That's
dog.
exactly right.
You lucky dog.
Aaron.
At the end of episode 1, when we see somebody watching the family.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
What if that's Jacob?
Not Colton.
What if that's Jacob?
I think I said that during
think
week
you
1.
did.
I am steadfast that that's not Colton.
Right.
I think that's too obvious. I think it's a red
And it would
herring.
make
I
sense
think
that an
guy who's
older
bad.
Jacob would look like,
A
or
little
at
bit.
least
Yeah.
similar to his
Colton
father.
watching his family is where I.
But that was
issues.
in
90. I mean, it's going to make Dan mad if it's
yeah,
Jacob,
because
then
he would
Jacob
be
lived
too
for 200
old.
years.
He'd be too old at that
Correct.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even
He'd be 180 years
even
old.
if he
Yeah.
jumped back and then jumped back
I'm just saying.
to home, he would be too the time wouldn't work.
I'm just saying if the creators of the show who have been amazing and we've got to talk to them and they're wonderful, but there's a temptation the longer the show goes and the more successful it gets is to no longer use the device but let the device use you. Like if you will keep that device as a way to build character and to have characters deepen their relationships and move forward and heal, this show is like an all-timer. If the device uses you to create more plots and mysteries and mythology that don't make sense, we don't get to have these fun episodes, but I think the show has more integrity the other way, in my opinion.
Well, if my understanding of time, like if you are in the past for 2 days,
It's 2 days in the
you're
present.
2 days in the present.
They've established that.
Then hit Colton, or I'm sorry, older Jacob wouldn't make sense because he's watching them in 99 or 2000, right? He's watching the 2000.
Yeah, Bran, the only caveat to that, and maybe I apologize if I'm just totally off the mark on this. There are moments in season 1 where Alice or Kat get back, and then when they jump back, it's like months later. So I don't know if that can work in the reverse.
It doesn't work
But
reverse.
what he's saying is if Jacob comes back to see them in 2000, he cannot be an old man.
He can't be. He would have to still be a boy.
He left in 1999. He can only be 1 year older.
Right.
That is the max he can be. Or
is there any?
We got a problem.
Right. So, assuming though that Jacob is in 1814 now as a 20-something,
he can't jump back to 2000. He can only jump back into how far it's been since he jumped forward.
I got you. Okay, yeah, that was after his disappearance.
Correct.
I got it.
This is interesting in the chat right now. It's probably Elliot watching them. What if Elliot time travels back and just wants to watch the family or something?
Yeah, Jacob, I'm out. If it's Jacob, I've got issues. I'm out on Jacob.
I thought the family at the end was the present day family.
Oh, I thought it was the 1990s.
No,
it
is because I remember talking about how it's weird that it'd be Colton because Colton's in the shot. And
Colton is in the shot.
Yeah.
Correct. Yes.
So it's actually...
Yeah. It's the 99, 2000.
It's 99. Yeah, it's actually
like season
before.
2, episode 1 was like months ago.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was a lot.
No, it's 99 because Jacob is still there too. The whole family is still there. And so
it can't
tough.
be it can't be Jacob.
So it
can't
could
be.
Yeah. All right. Well, Elliot it is. I don't think it's Colton. I don't think it's Colton.
And if we're wrong about the scene, I apologize. It does seem like it's been months. But I do believe it was the entire family, Jacob and Colton included, in 99, and somebody's watching them from the woods.
Well, Jordan does raise this, and this is fair. I hate it, but it is fair logically. Jacob gets taken back from 1814 to 2024, grows up, and then jumps back to 99. Does that make sense?
Oh, wow.
So,
interesting.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to articulate.
I hate
That's
that,
interesting.
but I think that the logic there makes more sense than him jumping back and being older.
Why do you hate it?
Because of my whole diatribe early on, where I'm like, the point of this show is not for Kat to right wrongs.
Sure. Okay.
It's for her to move on and not make any more wrongs. That's the point, is to heal and get better, not to go back and fix the past. The whole point is you can't. It's literally 10 straight episodes of her dealing with grief and depression, and you can't fix it. You can't keep trying. You can't do it. Like that's the thing.
But if it is Jacob, although in the opposite direction of time, it isn't that much different than Kat trying to save her dad.
If Kat goes back to try to save dad, what if Jacob is also doing, like if he gets brought back and he's like, maybe I can do it. If we know that Kat can't, maybe
but how
I
did
can
he get there? How did he get there?
It's a great question.
It's a really good theory.
But it's definitely an interesting, like this the way this show just does something and then like goes weeks without even acknowledging it again is one of its best traits and it's most frustrating because I just want to know like what is going on.
For sure.
Yeah. Let's do like two more. Let's do two more. Is that okay, Ryan?
Quick hitters.
Okay. Thanks for the thumbs up. It is an audio format, but I do appreciate because the people on Philo love your thumbs. We get a lot of comments about your thumbs.
We will hard out cut it when we hear the cell door open, which is like there's no way that we can stop that on your end. So that's when we'll cut it. Here we go.
Hey, Brand, 2 more sound.
Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron. In advance.
One is that Jacob is the nefarious one. His trip where he went missing was not his first trip through the pond. And then they have proof. One is his collection of pond Polaroids means he knew at least something about the pond. In season 1, episode 1, Kat has a flashback of Jacob and Colton fixing an old clock and Colton saying, you know exactly how to do it. Have you done this before? And Jacob says, maybe. All this time in the past, he never once thought of jumping in the pond, ? I think he knew how to come back, but chose not to torture his family.
I got to be honest.
Love it. Love it.
I need to go back to the first episode. If Colton looks at Jacob and says, you
know how to fix a clock.
You fixed a clock as a 9-year-old. Have you done this before? And he says, maybe. What in the world?
What is that?
How did I miss that line?
Oh, that's wild. I wonder if it was 7 o'clock.
7
when he did
o'clock.
it.
Could have been late for that lobster social for sure.
7 o'clock.
That's right.
That's wild.
That is crazy.
Yeah, we maybe should do a pilot rewatch at some point.
That is a lot in that one specific theory, and I'm gonna just sit on it for a while because I don't even know how to respond. That is a scene that I need to rewatch.
Correct.
And then reevaluate everything I thought about my life.
That would mean Jacob has lived more years than he looks, though, which is a problem with how the time travel works, right? If Jacob
At least on the surface
If
of what
Jacob
we know,
is
right? Yes,
9
yeah.
and can fix a clock without any tutorial of any kind, my man has seen some things and some stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a bit problematic. But
That
still
means
cool.
he traveled when he was like 4 and immediately got into clock making.
When were clocks big? When would have been prime time for children to learn clocks?
I love that happened, and
Yeah.
it's throwing a wrench into things, but also it creates more problems from a standpoint of what we think the pond does and how the time travel works.
We might just have to let that one go.
Yeah, we
Dan.
might have to. Sometimes you got to let it go. Sometimes you got to let it go. One
That
more,
is
Aaron.
very interesting.
One more.
All right, one more. This comes from Hillary, who is our resident Way Home enthusiast. And we're just going to do a quick close-up on Dan. This involves Dan.
Oh. Dan is Colton.
Hillary believes that Dan is a Way Home writer and refuses to tell us his
This is
being
great.
dissatisfied with things is just a cover-up attempt. And Kathy chimes in to say, well, we all know he's actually a When Calls the Heart writer, because how else did he know that Elizabeth would switch teams? Dan, you're on the record.
I am the puppet master of bad television. I am pulling all the strings, and it's what I do. I in my spare time, I have so much of it. I do very little, and I zoom into all these writers' meetings, and every idea I have to approve. I have to greenlight every single idea. I was like, Team Lucas, bad idea. Team Nathan, all the way. And I said, but flip it on him at the very end. Make it to where the show has no integrity at all. And here I am again. I'm doing it again, and this is a great theory. It's a great, great theory, and I stand by it. Cannot confirm nor deny, though. Cannot.
All
Well, there
right.
you go.
There you have it.
Hillary,
Wait.
Kathy, I tried.
Yeah. Way Home is back.
If there's no bad television, I'm out of a job. And
That's true.
I think you understand that. So there we go.
That is more true
Lisa
than
just said the exact thing in the chat that I just said, which
Yeah.
is great. Yeah, I wouldn't have
That's
anything to despise.
That's right.
You're right.
Well, Way Home is back this Sunday, and we'll be back next Wednesday with a review of it. Excited to, I believe from henceforth, there's no weeks off. I think it was just the Super Bowl.
Oh, good,
week.
because I was real lonely without it. I was real lonely.
He ain't queued up the end. It's tough because that sound is on a different board than the exit, the outro, and he had to. Brand's doing the Lord's
Brand.
work over here.
Sorry, Brent. Sorry.
It's a good time. We'll be back next Wednesday with another Way Home episode, and of course, we'll be back on Monday with Naughty Nine.
That's
with
right.
Alonzo from Disney Plus. Watch it this weekend if you want
Oh,
to.
nice.
Until then, may we be the first to wish you a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Deck the Hallmarks of Bramble Jam podcast. It's presented by
Aaron
Follow
Shea.
TV. It's produced by Brandon
Aaron
Gray.
Shea.
Recorded live in that Greenville, South Carolina. Set decor is by
Aaron
Planet
Shea.
Mall. For more information on Deck the Hallmark, you can go to deckthehallmark.com. For more information on Bramble Jam Podcast Network, you can go to BrambleJamPlus.com.
God bless.
What?